So, for the third time in a row, the Senate failed to pass a Zika funding virus bill, a bill which would help fight the Zika virus, which is just ravishing the world right now. And at this point, I think the Senate pretty much should be ashamed of itself. And that is both houses, both the Republicans and the Democrats, especially the Democrats. And it's pretty much the same reasons for both parties. And I'm going to get into it. I'm going to start out with the Republicans, who not that angry yet, but still angry at and think they should be ashamed of it. And then I'm going to move on to the Democrats, who really just pissed me off, and I think they're just so full of shit. So we'll start with the Republicans. Get that out of the way. Okay, so in the voting for this bill, the Republicans weren't in favor of it. They weren't able to get it passed because they need 60 and they only could get 52 votes. So you think I'd be like, oh, well, they're the ones who want to fund this, the fight against Zika. Except when they were, putting this bill together, they tried to sneak some shit in. Little underhanded things. I don't really know if there's a word to describe this sort of political movement. Like, with redistricting, how people try to use that as a way to strengthen their parties and screw over the other one. It's called gerrymandering. That's the slang for it. And there isn't one for this particular political move, but if I were to give a name, I'll call it buttermilk, like, the flies in the buttermilk. So you have the Zika virus funding bill, and everyone wants to fight Zika. You think, why wouldn't this get passed? Well, because the Republicans tried to sneak some flies into the buttermilk. One of them being this lifting the ban on Confederate flags at national veterans ceremonies. What the hell does Confederate flags have to do with the Zika virus? Nothing. Like I said, they thought it would get passed, so they just snuck it in there. Also, they want to ease the restrictions on pesticides. Mosquitoes are one of the things that's helping spread the Zika virus. They can use the pesticides to kill them off, but there are already rules in place that would restrict how much of the pesticides. And I'm kind of with Republicans on this. I think you might need, if you want to save the human race from the Zika virus, mosquitoes are going to have to die. That being said, there are probably some environmental issues. I can understand why people are against that. And the third one, no money to Planned Parenthood. And that's what caused the breakdown. And when I bitched about the Democrats, that's what it's going to be about. So, like I said, they tried to sneak some stuff in. They tried to keep some stuff out. And, that sort of sneaky politics helped cause, the downfall of this bill. So, no, I'm not a fan of, like I said, putting flies in the buttermilk, or buttermilking, as I guess we'll call it. I remember, like 20 years ago or so, there was this massive flood in, I think, Michigan, Grand Forks. So right away, people want to get a bill to help out Grand Forks. And some people tried to put some provisions in it, flies in the buttermilk, and the thing did not get passed right away because people said, oh, you're trying to put money towards here. This has nothing to do with Grand Forking. And that's one of the problems when you put flies in the buttermilk is people won't take the buttermilk. The buttermilk's a good thing, helping fight the Zika virus, and the flies are the things you don't want in there. But sometimes you need to drink the buttermilk with the flies. And that's what the Democrats should have done. Let's get on to the Democrats, who really pissed me. So the Confederate flag, lifting the ban on that. Who the fuck gives a shit? Now, I know the Confederate flag pisses a lot of people off, and I know the reasons, but still, who the fuck gives a shit when you've got the Zika virus? Thousands of people are dying, and they're like, oh, well, the Republicans care more about protecting the Confederate flag, and you care more about banning it. You're not going to pass this bill because someone's put a fly in the buttermilk, lifted the ban, which I might add, you did the same thing with the ban. That's how it came about. There was a veterans funding bill, and you put that fly in that buttermilk, but the Republicans said, fuck it, we want to support veterans. We'll just have to drink that buttermilk with that fly, and now you can't have Confederate flags and veterans cemeteries. But you know what? Fuck it. We'll just put it fly. We'll put that fly back in the buttermilk when some other popular bill came up. So I really don't give a flying fuck that you think you need to stop this bill because they put in this ban lifting it on Confederate flags when you could do the same thing with some other fucking bill that comes up. You know, the country decides, hey, why don't we have a bill that helps support puppies? Popular bill. And you say, oh, you know what? Fine, but you got to put in this provision where we ban the Confederate flag in the cemeteries once again. Like I said, you can pass that fucking fly all around. No one gives a shit. We got people dying because of the Zika virus. We have massive birth defects. And you, if that was one of the things that you had a problem with, you're a fucking moron. That's superficial in the grand scheme of things. And let's move on to the pesticide. Okay. Kind of a hot topic issue. You know, should they use the pesticides to kill these mosquitoes? Won't that affect the environment? Plus, Planned Parenthood. I'll lump that in. These are two things that both could help or hurt the situations when it comes to fighting the Zika virus. Pesticides, they kill the flies, mosquitoes, and of course Planned Parenthood would help probably stop it sexually. You know, I mean, there's going to be, you know, the condoms, whatnot. They do a lot of stuff when it comes to preventing the prevention of sexually transmitted disease, which Zika falls under. I get it. You think Planned Parenthood would help the situation. The Republicans said, no, we don't want anything to do with Planned Parenthood because of abortion. And you say, well, the Republicans, they were against a woman's right to choose. And you're going to hold up this bill because of that. You're going to stick to your principles. Okay, fine. You stuck to your principles. Good for you. But you did jack shit to help stop the Zika virus. You stopping it, not passing a bill, which would put $1 billion into research, maybe killing off the mosquitoes, is not helping the situation. I don't understand why you think what you're doing is somehow different from the Republicans. It's the same goddamn bullshit. You know, the titles I'm reading... Republicans care more about protecting the Confederate flag and destroying Planned Parenthood than they do about Zika. Well, the fucking title could also read, the Democrats care more about banning the Confederate flag and protecting Planned Parenthood. And, yeah, like I said, I'm not part of the liberal media, so I'm not going to give you a fucking pass on it. It's the same bullshit. You're both playing fucking chicken on the Zika virus. Republicans say they're not going to pass anything that gives money to Planned Parenthood. You are saying you're not going to pass anything unless they do give fucking money to Planned Parenthood. A lot of people said you want Planned Parenthood to get money to help fight the Zika virus. Separate bill. Why don't you do that? Why don't you grow you a pair of balls and propose it after they've sent some money to do something to help stop this fucking Zika virus? But I don't think the Democrats are going to do it. They're just too smug about this fucking shit. Where they think the media is going to be on their side. So far, as far as I can tell, it pretty much is. They're not calling out the fucking Democrats on their hypocrisy and their two-faced bullshit that they are pulling with this. So I will, because I'm not with the fucking liberal media. All the conservatives, like I said, they put those flies in the buttermilk, and it really can be a stupid move. Sometimes people would drink the buttermilk with the flies. Sometimes they won't. All right, it's a stupid metaphor. I get it, but seriously, you need a name for this political scheme. So I'm going to urge the Republicans to bite the bullet on this one and put in a provision for Planned Parenthood. Give the baby its bottle. In case you don't want, yes, I think the Democrats are being babies on this. And I'm going to ask the Republicans to, in a sense, sell out some of their values and their feelings about Planned Parenthood and abortion to help stop his Zika. To help, if they can, at this point. I don't understand why people don't consider this an American crisis at this point. You know, maybe the Zika virus hasn't gotten to Duluth or Charles City, Iowa, or Truth and Consequences, Nevada, is it? But it's in San Jose, it's in Ponce, and it's in Miami. And if you don't know what San Juan and Ponce are, they're in Puerto Rico. They've got some with 5,000 cases, of the Zika virus in Puerto Rico, those are Americans. Hence, it's already an American crisis, given that it's in the 4-digit mark already. So like I said, I think I'm urging my senators, Senator Joni Ernst and Chuck Grassley, fund the Planned Parenthood. Keep the restrictions, lifting the restrictions on the virus so they can slaughter the fucking mosquitoes. Call me a speciesist all you want. I'm not in it to protect mosquitoes. I'm in it to protect the human race. Fuck the mosquitoes. Kill them off. And like I said, give money to Planned Parenthood even though you don't want it. Just like I said, give the baby its fucking bottle. And that's all I got to say on that.